Hello, Grapperinos, and welcome to another exciting episode of Probably Next Week on Raw. I'm Bryon, and once again joined by a man who just adores every time Roman Reigns is appearing on Raw. Mike, say hello, Mike.
Hello. Yes. It seems that every time he comes back for about a week, maybe like 2 weeks, and then leaves again, and then it's a big deal when he comes back. It seems like he's kind of being used like Kevin Nash back in WCW. He's brought back every once in a while for a cheap pop.
Sure, I'm just gonna pretend that I understood that reference. Also, it's funny because every time he shows up, he has the absolute need to aura farm and just slowly he does things slowly for that cinematic look. All right, that's what's missing in wrestling. We gotta take things slow. We're not gonna rush into things. Okay, we gotta take it slow. If Roman Reigns wants to help a guy, he'll take 20 minutes to do it. He's that kind of guy, and that's who he is, I suppose. But anyway, we are heading into Crown Jewel in Perth, not Saudi Arabia this time, because Saudi Arabia gets WrestleMania in 2027 and the Royal Rumble next year. So, Crown Jewel's in Perth. We're going to book the go home show. According to these rules that we have set for ourselves, if you have seen the other episodes, well, you know the rules. If not, here are the rules here. Notice that the first rule is blanked out because, well, the WWE isn't following these rules, so we're not going to follow them either. And there you go. After we tell you our bookings and predictions for the next episode of Monday Night Raw using these rules, we are going to watch said next episode and book our predictions and bookings based on the point system outlined here. And we are going to tell you our points on the next episode of this show. Let's take a look now at the I should say last week now. And I have 12 points. I actually did kind of well on this one. And the four points are for each of the Vision members. So, instead of just 1 point for the faction, it's 1 point for each member. So I have 12. I got Styles and AJ
Hold
Lee.
on.
Or
You
not
told me
AJ Lee.
prior
Yeah.
that for tag teams it was 1 point per team. So
Oh,
so why would the faction be 1 point
well,
per person in the faction?
the faction is different from a tag team. A faction is comprised of different members.
Is a tag team
And
not comprised of different members though? They are each their own
But-
individual.
hold on, but they're usually two people. So if the New Day, right? The New Day is kind of a tag team. They're not a faction. They're a tag team. Because you have
So
Grayson Waller is not official, I guess.
so if Cody Rhodes tag teams with Randy Orton, would that count as two people or one individual?
that would count as
Because
2 points. Because they're
even
not an
though
official
they're
tag team.
okay, so they have to be like an official tag team. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
We're not counting makeshift tag teams, all right? Those are just makeshift is 2 people. And yeah. We can edit this, of course, as time goes on. But that is what I think it should work, I suppose. So I got that. I got AJ Styles, and I said AJ Lee. It should be Dragon Lee versus Los Americanos, right? For some reason, I got that right. So
Yeah, you did. I was flabbergasted that happened.
That's an additional 4. And then Raquel won against Becky. Or sorry, Bailey? Was it Bailey? I think it's Bailey, yeah. And then
Yeah, it was good.
I got Asuka and Kyrie appearances, and of course the Vision and Cody Rhodes appearances, which contributed to the majority of that. But yeah, I was flabbergasted that AJ Styles and Dragon Lee versus Los Americanos were there. And I think I also got the winner correct too. So that's a lot of points right there. But what about you, Mike?
I've got all my points off of just who showed up. I did not get any of the segments right, really, because I had Seth confronting CM Punk and not Cody Rhodes because I thought that they might have some semblance of a brand split and have Cody only exist on SmackDown, but that's not the case anymore. So I only got people who showed up, and I did not see Dominic retaining his title. So
Yeah, kind of unfortunate, but whatever. I don't know where Rusev goes from here, but we'll see, I suppose. Anyway, here is what's announced so far. I think it's just Roman Reigns. I don't think there were any other matches announced. So I think it's just that one, I suppose. So, without further ado, let's book this thing and get to my version of the show. As CM Punk walks to the ring, he talks about the WrestlePalooza match that he was participating in with his wife, AJ Lee, and how they both won. And he says, ever since then, he's been watching Raw and he's been watching what Seth Rollins has been saying the past couple of weeks and feels that he needs to stop whatever he and the Vision are doing against Cody Rhodes because Cody is his friend and he wants to help out Cody Rhodes. And he is then interrupted by Paul Heyman of the Vision, who talks about how he is wrong about, how winning is sort of the first step and how it's a fluke. He says that Division will take over WWE and they will always be on top, no matter if CM Punk is in the company or not, with his wife. And Seth will always be on top as well. And he will always have a solution to all of his problems, including Punk's. And he'll just get rid of Punk easily. And Braun and Bronson are sort of the methods to that. They decide to ambush Punk as they head into the ring from the other side of the arena. And then we have a brawl. And then we're going to have Jey Uso come in for the save, brushes past Paul Heyman, gets Braun and Bronson out of the ring. And we have a main event match for that night, which is CM Punk and Jey Uso versus Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. We then head into another match, which is Lyra Valkyria and Bayley versus Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez. This happens as a sort of progression from the feud with Judgment Day, where Lyra and Bayley are sort of working together, sort of, to get rid of the two women from the Judgment Day. And I'm going to have Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez win by pinfall. And after the match, we're going to have some sort of argument between Bayley and Lyra. And Bayley just walks out of the ring as Roxanne and Raquel laugh at them. Sort of, these two are working together, really. And then we're going to have Bayley strike both Roxanne and Raquel from the back as they're just focused on Lyra there in the ring by herself. And there could be a backstage promo later in the show where Lyra talks to Bayley and sort of apologizes for, them not winning against Roxanne and Raquel. And then Bayley laughs it off, but then starts berating her. Schizo stuff. We're going to have schizo stuff from Bayley after the match. And I think this is going to eventually turn into a Lyra Bayley feud. And we could probably have them again operating as a tag team, a makeshift tag team for the time being, and then maybe have this story where, they start miscommunicating, I guess, and then they break off. I don't know, but I think this is going to head into a Lyra Bayley feud. That is the long game. And maybe it'll happen at Survivor Series. Maybe it'll happen at the Royal Rumble. Who knows? But that's what I have there. Next, LA Knight versus Xavier Woods. This happened because LA Knight had a match against Kofi Kingston, and now he has a match with the other half of the New Day. And we are going to have LA Knight win by pinfall. After the match, Xavier and Kofi, maybe Grayson Waller as well, I guess, beat him up. But then Jimmy Uso comes in for the save. New Day leaves, and Jimmy checks on LA Knight. And we could probably have a backstage promo again between Jimmy and Jey Uso, where Jey is like, "Why the hell are you helping LA Knight again? Don't you understand? LA Knight sucks. He's pretty bad. He's undermining us, bro." And we're gonna plant some more tension between Jimmy and Jey over their allegiance to with respect to LA Knight. Whether or not LA Knight should be on their team against the Vision remains to be seen. I think we're gonna plant that in. And that is that. Maybe the week after, LA Knight could have a match with what's his name? Grayson Waller. And we'll see probably the culmination of Jimmy and Jay's arguments, I suppose. And yeah, it's gonna affect the War Games match for sure. We're gonna move on from that to Becky Lynch versus Maxine Dupree for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Yes, this happens because Maxine Dupree gets laid out by Becky Lynch last week. So this week, it's probably going to be a match. So I'm going to have Becky Lynch win by pinfall. Obviously, I want Maxine Dupree to have an underdog streak where she loses a lot of times. Audience sympathy. And then we have a comeback where she ultimately wins a title at the end. But we're gonna have a bit of an underdog streak first. And after the match, we're gonna have she's not featured, but I'm gonna have AJ Lee come out and beat up Becky Lynch. This doesn't set up the Crown Jewel match. This sets up a feud for Survivor Series, where they both are going to sort of have a match at Survivor Series, and after Crown Jewel, we're gonna have promos between them, maybe some matches, and yeah, build up that feud. We're gonna move on from that to a Roman Reigns promo. Roman Reigns talks about what happened last week, why he helped out Jey, and why the Vision needs to be taken out. Of course, this all happened last week. He makes allusions to an upcoming war between him and the Vision, and how it needs to be solved with 2 cages, 2 rings, 5 people against the Vision and maybe 2 other people. No matter what, he says that if Jey is ever involved, he would involve himself too, because Jey is family, even though Jimmy is also family, but let's discard that, I suppose. He cares more about Jey, I guess. And he'll do whatever it takes to ally with Jey on this upcoming war against the Vision, even if it includes allying himself once again with CM Punk, because I'm thinking CM Punk is going to be on the same team, taking down the Vision. Obviously, it plays into the Seth Punk rivalry. We're going to have Jey Uso come out. He says that he took Roman's advice from weeks ago and says that they will continue to remain in good graces. He thanks Roman for helping him out last week and says that he will be there on the upcoming war as well. And they hug. And maybe we'll have a backstage segment afterward where Division laugh at Roman and Jey, and they're preparing for the main event. And Paul Heyman's probably like, okay, looks like we need a guy on our side to take care of Roman Reigns. And Paul is like, I probably have a guy. I probably have a guy who will take care of this. And he calls someone that I will reveal on the main event. But that is the Roman Reigns segment. We're going to move on from that to Io Sky versus Kairi Sane. I'm going to have Kairi Sane win. Oh, by the way, this is to build up the Kabuki Warriors versus Io Sky and Rhea Ripley match at Crown Jewel. That is a match. So Kairi Sane wins with help from Asuka. And then we're gonna have Kairi Sane and Asuka beat up Io Sky after the match. That's when Rhea comes in for the save, and they are on top as the Kabuki Warriors leave. Again, this is to build up their match at Crown Jewel, and I'm gonna have the Kabuki Warriors go over on that match just to build them up as a heel tag team. And we are going to move from that to the main event. CM Punk, Jey Uso versus Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. And I am going to have the babyfaces win. And after the match, there will be a brawl between the four of the men. And then we have Seth Rollins come out to help the Bronze. And then we're going to have Roman Reigns come out to help, because there's probably a spot where Jey Uso is in trouble. Roman comes in to help. And then we're going to have Brock Lesnar come out. And he is going to essentially beat up every single one of the babyfaces. And after that, we're going to have Brock Lesnar shake Paul Heyman's hand. And we're going to have a shocked look in Seth's face. But looking at the results, where everyone in the babyface side is just laid out, he's happy, but he's kind of surprised that Brock Lesnar has entered and is shaking Paul Heyman's hand. And they all celebrate as the show goes off the air. Any questions?
I was gonna book, or I was gonna predict Becky versus Maxine Dupree, but by the way, I don't know if you know this. The main event, the card for Crown Jewel, starts at 8 a.m. Eastern time.
Oh yeah, yes, yeah.
8 o'clock in the morning, man.
Yep.
The pre-show starts at like probably 6:30 a.m.
Who will watch the pre-show at 6:30 a.m.?
Jeez,
I wonder.
Interesting, but anyway, I think I was looking at the card for Crown Jewel right now, and there's only 4 matches booked.
Yep. Well, that's I think SmackDown is gonna be, which is the day before. I think SmackDown is also in Perth, so it's gonna be 2 days where they are in Perth.
Yes, so that's why I'm thinking that maybe they hold off on the IC title fight until Crown Jewel, because SmackDown is probably not going to book any matches for Crown Jewel. They'll probably do them there because they are in Perth. Like you're going to have the tag team. I think they have the tag team fight on SmackDown, right? Or something.
Yeah, and
they have the Damian Priest. They have the Damian Priest and Aleister Black.
Yeah, last man standing.
Last man
standing. What I predicted, but
yeah.
Okay, fine.
Yeah. So I think that I was gonna predict that, but I think it's gonna go to Crown Jewel, and that'll be the 5th match on the card. And I think what you said is true. I think AJ Lee returns, and that sets up a feud for Survivor Series. Do you want to hear my absolute? Actually, you know what? I'll talk about it in my card.
Okay.
And then I was gonna also book LA Knight versus Xavier Woods. But I thought I saw that Penta was featured. So I'm thinking maybe it's LA Knight and Penta versus the New Day, possibly in a tag team match, which I have booked. So,
right. Yeah.
With that being said, I will go into my card.
Okay, let's do that. Starting off with,
I have a Seth Rollins promo. So Seth puts himself over for Crown Jewel. He is interrupted by CM Punk. This is the second week I booked this, so hopefully I'm right. Punk puts over Cody. Rollins then attacks him. Roman comes down for the save, and then Roman and Punk are assaulted by the Bronze. This sets up a tag team match for the main event, which I'll get into later.
Okay. I booked Roman Reigns in a separate segment because, I looked at next week, and it said that Roman Reigns is gonna be on Raw. I'm guessing it's gonna be a promo segment, so that's why I had it booked. But it's kind of interesting that you have Roman sort of intervene instead of have his own segment. But okay,
I did originally have him have his own segment, but number one, I think Seth has started off like 2 out of the 3 last Raws, so I'm pretty sure he's going to start off this Raw. I'm
The
fairly
formula.
certain he will. Yeah.
They love the formula.
And I think they need to start building for War Games, and this is how they do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. All right, we're gonna move on from that too.
I have Lyra and Bailey versus the Judgment Day. Thank you for stealing my idea, Brian.
Wow.
I'm the one who sends you my cards. You know what I'm booking. I don't know what you're booking. So the suspicion lies on you. But whatever. This was pretty predictable because it follows the traditional formula of woman fights 2 people and then they tag up with their friend to fight them in a tag match. You know, basically, I'm seeing a lot of formulas when I predict these now, and I can see what's going to happen. You know, in the future because of how these formulas end up. Anyway. I think Lyra and Bailey win this one. I think that Bailey then plants Lyra with her finisher anyway after the bell because she is in schizo mode.
So, yeah. Do you think this will? I'm pretty sure I said this already, but do you think Lyra and Bailey can sort of be a tag team for now, and then they would break up, or do you think this will head to a feud between the two?
I think this heads to a feud that potentially leads to the IC title for Bailey. Because I think they're gonna do like a tweener role for her. Just because she's being booked as like a schizo mode Bailey right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. Do you think Bailey will ever be a women's IC champion with this?
Yeah,
I think so.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Lyra put herself in the corner by not. She can't challenge for it anymore. So, I should say Lyra. Lyra is stuck in mid card feuds until she gets put into the women's championship against. Who is it? Io Sky? Who's the women's champion?
Io Sky.
Yeah.
No. Yes, it
Oh,
is.
Stephanie.
No, it's not. It's Stephanie. Stephanie, we completely
God
forgot Stephanie.
we forgot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna move on from that too.
A Rhea promo. This, by the way, this is a go home show, so they tend to be pretty promo heavy, which is why I'm booking a lot of promos. So she puts herself and Io Sky over. I think Michael Cole referred to this team as Rio, like RHIO.
Ooh.
So Io comes out. She's happy to be with Rhea, but they're interrupted by the Kabuki Warriors. There's a stare down in the ring, and some anime is spoken between Io and the Kabuki Warriors. Do you want to hear my conspiracy theory for what's going to happen here?
Sure, let's hear it out.
I think Io, the swerve is that Io turns heel and joins the Kabuki Warriors.
Oh,
you want to know why?
Why do you say that?
If you look, because we were complaining last week that there really is no major women's faction for War Games, right? There's a couple of like heel tag teams and individual heels, but there's no like faction that can kind of form the base of the War Games team. And I think this is how they create that team. Because last year you had the Judgment Day, which had what was it? It was damn. Liv Morgan. It was Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, and no, sorry. The main team was Nia Jax, Candice LeRae, and then Tiffany Stratton, and then it was then it was the Judgment Day, which was Liv Morgan and Raquel.
Yes.
Yeah. So you had like a 3-team, like a 3-person faction, then a tag team. I think they go the same route this time, where it's the Kabuki Warriors, which is Asuka, Io, and Kairi Sane, plus the Judgment Day, which is Roxanne and Raquel. So I think that's how this goes.
And then you're gonna have Rhea on the other side, right?
Yes, yeah, and I think Rhea is on the other side. I think she loses in Perth. Yeah.
You said Naomi might be featured. So
Yes. So I looked at the ticket website. If you go to buy tickets for the Raw and you look at click details, and it will show you who's featured on this show. For some reason, Naomi is featured, and I'm pretty sure she's still pregnant because it's a 9-month pregnancy
yeah,
usually. So uh, I don't
don't know
know
why
why
she'd be
she'd
in
be
it.
back. I do have her on my card for that reason, but that's the only reason I have her on my card is apparently she's
Okay.
featured. So I don't know.
Well,
It could be a mistake. It could be a mistake.
yeah. Well, I
But
was gonna ask if you think Naomi is going to be in this War Games match. Would you see that as a possibility where she might be working with Rhea here to take down the Judgment Day and the Kabuki Warriors?
I don't think she's in War Games, my guy, because you can't be taking bumps when you're pregnant, my dude. That's kind of
Yeah.
rough. She's still featured. She's still featured as of 2:41 p.m. the day before Raw. So who
Okay.
knows? But I don't think she's in War Games. No.
All right. Well, I'll wait to see what you have for Naomi then later in the card as we move on to.
We have a LA Knight and Penta versus the New Day. This is because LA Knight has been feuding with the New Day. I think Penta is showing up on this show as well. He's featured in the main graphic for this show, so I think he might show up. And I think he teams up with LA Knights to defeat the New Day in a tag team match. Um, and yeah, this continues a random mid card feud between LA Knight and the New Day. And I think this also gives Penta a little bit of main upper card exposure, possibly. So
Is this the LA Knight push you've been looking for? is
uh,
this... Are you
I saw
happy
this
with this?
comments. I saw this comment on a Reddit thread. I typically look in the Reddit threads post SmackDown to just look at what happened. Because they also list the backstage segments as well, which is useful. But
Yeah.
someone said LA Knight is really good, but there's also a bunch of other guys above him that are really good. So he's kind of stuck
Well,
at
I
like the mid
think
card level because he's really good, but there's a bunch of other guys who are also deserving of a title and are really good above him as well. So
well, I also think that they're still hesitant about the age thing because I think LA Knight is like 43, if I recall correctly. He's like in his early 40s, so they're kind of hesitant about putting a title on an old guy, even though they've done it before numerous times in the history of the company. But yeah, I I kind of want LA Knight to succeed here, and if it takes many mid card feuds for him to get that title that he's been seeking after, then I guess the sacrifice was worth it. But at the end of the day, I think Penta is gonna go for Dominic's title next. I think that is the next feud. If LA Knight also decides to go for it, then I guess I don't know what else LA Knight would do. But yeah, it's just unfortunate that LA Knight is in this position. But oh well. New Day can continue being the goofy heels that they are. That honestly doesn't help them because no one cares about them. They're still waiting for Big E to come back, and he's not coming back. So, oh well. Back to talking smack about the town that they're in. Oh my. Moving on from that to
we have a Stephanie Vaquer promo. I know she doesn't speak English very well, but she'll get in a few words, maybe intermixed with Spanish. She basically puts herself over for the match, says she's not going to be a transitional champion. And then Naomi shows up on stage. Again, Naomi is featured for this Raw for some reason. So this is what I think she'll do because Lord knows she can't take bumps. So I don't think they want her getting
no.
anywhere near the
No.
ring. So I think she shows up on stage. Naomi basically tells her she's coming for the belt when she's back, regardless if the champion is still back here or not. And that is how that segment ends.
That is honestly how I'm expecting it to be if Naomi is actually featured. If not, then it's a waste of time. But yeah, I Yeah. So, do you think? I think I've asked this already, but do you think Stephanie Vaquer is a transitional champion?
Yes.
All right. How how long do you think she would hold that?
I think
Like
she really is just here to eventually job out to Rhea. Unfortunately, but I think that's how it goes. Either her or Asuka, she jobs out to.
Okay, so
Um,
after the whole War Games anime subplot is resolved, I guess Rhea can challenge Stephanie. Is that what you're
yes,
saying?
yes, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. All right. We'll move on from that to the main event.
Main event is Punk, Roman, and Jey Uso versus The Vision, including Seth Rollins. I think what happens is throughout the show, Roman and Punk get Jey to join their three-man team to go up against The Vision. I think The Vision win via pinfall thanks to like a distraction from Paul Heyman and miscommunication between Jey and Roman. I think Jey leaves the ring and The Vision beat up on Punk and Roman again. And this is teasing a potential Jey Uso heel turn.
Okay. Now, I I do see the Jey Uso heel turn coming. I would rather build it between Jimmy and Jay before going straight to Roman. Do you think this Jey Uso heel turn will work? Is my question. Do you think Jey Uso
So,
as a bad guy would work if they proceed
so
with the
I,
heel
I
turn?
think I think the way that it needs to, the way they're going to run it, in my opinion, is that he's going to be painted as a lone wolf type of almost a little bit of what John Cena was, where he's sort of like, I can do it, my way. I don't need anybody's help. I am, the guy. Sort of like he's tired of being helped by everyone and seen as being a number two to people. So I think that's how they're going to spin it. He's going to be, I think, sort of a tweener almost, but leaning towards a heel, kind of. So I don't think they're going to go full like heel shenanigans with Jay. I think he'll just be sort of like a meaner Jey Uso.
Okay.
um, I'll be interested to see how they go with it because I know that they really haven't done any good main event heel turns lately, other than maybe Randy Orton, but that's Randy Orton. So
Yeah. I will say this though, it'll be funny if the Yeet song still exists when he comes out, if he's a heel, but they just slow it down so the Yeets get slower. Because they usually tend to do that for heel theme songs. They just slow down. You've heard it for Roxanne's theme. They just slow her theme down because she's a heel. Oh, so if the Yeet song for Jey Uso is slower, then the Yeets get slower, which is just funny to me. Anyway, so okay, you don't have Brock Lesnar on the show, and
no,
you'd rather
I think
just
I think he shows
yeah,
up at Crown Jewel. I think
at
he
Crown Jewel.
shows up at
Okay,
Crown Jewel. I think he shows up to help Seth win because then you can build back in that Cody versus Brock feud they had going on when Cody
yep,
first lost to Roman. Um, so I think you can build that back in. And I think that's it's a bigger pop if he shows up at Crown Jewel versus if he shows up at this Raw,
well,
and
the
then
thing
that starts
is,
the road to War Games.
yeah, the thing is, would Brock show up at Australia? Is the thing.
It's
He's
better
kind
than
of an
Saudi
introverted
Arabia.
guy, man. Well, okay, fair enough. I guess if the money is right, then he'll appear in Australia, I suppose. All right. Well, that is what we have for the next episode of Monday Night Raw as we head into Crown Jewel Perth. As I said earlier, we are going to watch the next episode when it comes out, and we're going to score our predictions and bookings for that episode. And we're gonna tell you what we got on the next episode of this show. But until then, thank you for ordering a pepperoni pizza called probably next week on Raw from Grapperinos. And remember, if you are down for some fresh, oven-baked, crispy wrestling content, stop on by Grapperinos and order yourself some content you can grapple with. See you next time, Grapperinos!